Mayor, looks good. Okay. Call this meeting to order. All rise for the salute of the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This meeting is convened in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act of New Jersey. Let the official minutes reflect that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by publishing a notice in the Asbury Park Press on Wednesday, January 8th, 2020, the Press of Atlantic City, and the Star-Ledger, and also forwarded to the Toms River Times, Toms River Patch, and WOBM News on Monday, January 6th, 2020. And therefore, after posting same on the Town Hall Bulletin Board for such notices, and filing same with the Township Clerk pursuant to a resolution adopted by the Township Council on Friday, January 3rd, 2020. The meeting dates have been posted on the Township website. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Urick.
Here.
Councilman Kopp. Here. Councilman Lotano.
Here.
Councilman Roderick. Here. Councilman Turnbach.
Here.
Council Vice President Gagan.
Here.
Council President Maruka.
Present.
First item on the agenda, the minutes from September 8th, 2020.
Move the minutes.
Second.
Motion was made by Councilwoman Urick, seconded by Councilman Lotano. Councilwoman Urick.
Yes.
Councilman Lotano.
Yes.
Councilman Kopp.
Yes.
Councilman Roderick.
Abstain.
Councilman Turnbach.
Excuse me, Councilman Kopp, you missed that meeting. Motion to reconsider?
Motion made.
Second motion to reconsider.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Councilman Kopp.
Abstain.
Councilman Turnbach.
Yes.
Council Vice President Gagan.
Yes.
Council President Maruka.
Yes.
Item 6. Tonight we are honoring two causes. First, knock out the opioids, and second, for Hunger Action Month.
Okay. The Knock Out the Opioids, they're having an event on October 6th, and we are supporting that. And also Hunger Action Month, this is something that Fulfill has been doing with all the municipalities within Ocean and Monmouth County. We have a motion?
Move the honoring resolutions and presentations.
Second.
Motion was made by Councilman Turnbach, seconded by Council Vice President Gagan. Councilman Turnbach.
Yes, and I just really want to send a heartfelt thank you out to Fulfill. We are approaching week 27 of our food distribution, and Fulfill has answered the call in every which way. They provide every food box to this township. They've done it for 27 weeks, and as long as we're going to do this, they're going to continue to provide. I've met really no better agency in the state of New Jersey than the Monmouth Ocean Food Bank, Fulfill, and we really appreciate all of their efforts. Yes.
Council Vice President Gagan.
And I also echo Councilman Turnbach's sentiments and whatnot. Yes.
Councilwoman Urick.
I just wanted to, are we going to do any, we're just doing this, right? We're not?
No, we're not.
Okay. So October 6th is designated as Knockout Opioid Day by the Partnership for a Drug-Free New Jersey. There's a few reasons for this. One is to raise awareness of the potential dependency on pain medications that is linked to heroin use. And secondly, to reduce the stigma that's surrounding a drug problem that requires recovery and support. And then thirdly is to inform providers who are prescribing pain medications that there are alternatives and that they should come up with realistic plans with their patients and look at alternatives to controlled substance prescribing. So during this time, I've been told that the overdose rate has actually increased and that opioid use has increased during the pandemic and the seclusion. So I thought it was really, really important that we call attention to Knock Out Opioid Abuse Day. So you can get more information at drugfreenewjersey.org for resources. And of course, we are forever grateful to Fulfill for the support that they've provided the people of Toms River and the surrounding area. So I vote yes.
Councilman Kopp.
Yes.
Councilman Lotano.
I just would like to say that this is the first honoring and resolution we've done, I think, since the quarantine began, and it seems pretty fitting, knock out the opioids and Hunger Action Month. I vote yes.
Councilman Roderick.
Yes.
Council President Maruka.
I also want to talk a little bit about Fulfill and the good work they've done with our community. No matter if you're dealing with a volunteer, no matter if you're dealing with a staff member, no matter if it's a Sunday night or at 6 a.m. on a Friday morning, they always answer an email, they always answer a call, and they go above and beyond. And we are truly blessed to work with such a worthwhile organization. And it's not just the food drive, the Pop the Trunk with the Township, it's with all the church and organizations they work out with throughout Toms River and Ocean County and Monmouth County. So my hat's off to them and all the great work they do. And for knock out opioids, maybe on October 6th, we can possibly do some type of presentation, and I think it would be fitting if we did something at Hope Sheds Light, because that is a cause that's their champion. They champion that cause, and I think maybe we could set something up for that so we can present there. We can do something outside, so we can reach out to the organization of Hope Sheds Light. And on that note, I vote yes.
Item number 7 is an ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Toms River, Ocean County, New Jersey, description for unimproved part of a 15-foot wide alley between lots 7, block 616, and lots 13 and 16, block 615, Toms River Township, Ocean County, New Jersey, to be vacated. This is a final reading.
This is the final reading and the public hearing on this ordinance. Anyone wishing to speak on this ordinance, raise your hand. Once called to the microphone, please state your name and address for the record.
Seeing none, I move to close the public comments portion of this ordinance.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Move the ordinance on final.
Second.
Motion was made by Councilwoman Yurick, seconded by Councilman Turnbach. Councilwoman Yurick?
Yes.
Councilman Turnbach?
Yes.
Councilman Kopp?
Yes.
Councilman Lotano?
Yes.
Councilman Roderick?
Abstain.
Council Vice President Gagan?
Yes.
Council President Maruka.
Yes. Before we conduct the next part of our agenda, which is our consent agenda, the council is going into a brief executive session to discuss some matters that we will be coming out and having to vote on this evening. So, Allison, if you would, we can have a motion?
Move to executive session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. You have to read them into the record, Allison.
Council President, the items that we'll be discussing in executive session?
Yes, 5, 6, and 7.
Okay. The items to be discussed are item number 5, DM Medical Billings LLC, possible challenge to award of bid. Number 6 is response to U.S. DOJ letter concerning RLUIPA litigation. Number 7 is report of investigation regarding photographing at a council meeting. Whereas Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances to discuss matters requiring confidentiality and/or of a privileged nature. And whereas the Township Council is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Toms River and the County of Ocean and State of New Jersey as follows. The Township Council will now conduct a private executive session. General nature of the subject matter to be discussed and or acted upon is as follows. Matters of personnel, attorney-client privilege, and contract negotiations. The following specific items to be discussed and or acted upon were as I read. It is anticipated that the deliberations conducted in closed session may be disclosed to the public upon the determination of the Township Council that the public interest will no longer be served by such confidentiality. 6:08 p.m.
Where are we going to meet, Miranda?
We're going to go down to the LMH.
Council President, do we have a motion to go back into?
Motion to go back into public session?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next would be our consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda will be enacted by one motion in the form listed below. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired on any item, that item will be considered separately. Okay. We also have two items that we'll be reading into the record.
First item to be read by title is a resolution of the Township Council, Township of Toms River, Ocean County, New Jersey, censuring and demanding the resignation of Daniel T. Roderick from the Township Council for improper, unethical, and dishonorable conduct.
Okay, would that be item O?
That would be item O.
Okay. And our next item?
A motion to authorize the township attorneys and special counsel to enter into a pre-litigation negotiations with the U.S. Department of Justice under our LUPA.
Okay.
Are we going to have a roll call on each?
Okay. Any member of the council have any agenda item that they need separately?
Council President, can I have a roll call on Resolution G, please?
G? Anyone else?
Council President, if I may, there should be a roll call on the Arlupa
Okay.
resolution as well.
Okay, so it's going to be item G, and we'll also have one on item P.
And the censure, my third censure, we're going to have a roll call on that as well?
And
Correct.
item O? Item O.
Yeah, we'll have a roll call on that as well.
C and D.
And we need a roll call on C and D as well?
C and D.
Okay.
Allison, yes, please.
All right, and then item C and D, we
No
also
and P.
need a roll call.
These are not written down, so let's make sure we have this straight. So we have the censure. Which letter is the censure?
It's item O. That was just read into the record.
It's item O. And then Mayor Hill's plan to
Excuse me.
negotiate the zoning. What?
It's not Mayor,
What?
excuse me, Anthony, could you
what
read that
letter
by
was that?
title?
Which letter was that?
Allison read by title, but read again by title for Councilman Roderick's benefit.
Yes. What letter was
It's a
that?
motion to authorize the township, it's a motion to authorize the township attorneys and special counsel to enter pre-litigation negotiations with the U.S. Department of Justice under our LUPA.
And which letter was that? P. Can we have someone explain to the public whether or not we're actually being sued? Are we currently being sued by the Justice Department, Anthony? Mr. Molino, I'm sorry. Can-
When we get,
Somebody with legal.
excuse me, Dan. I'm running the meeting, okay? So
Okay, I
if
just want
you,
to make sure, because we didn't have letters or,
okay, well, if you would pay attention to what we had just put in there, we're going to, anyone else have anything else from the consent agenda to be discussed separately? Okay, we have items G, items C and D, items P, O, and P, correct? Great.
Take each one separately.
We are, but I want a motion on the rest of the consent, move the remainder of the consent agenda.
One from the public?
Anyone from the public, I'm sorry.
Seeing none, I move the balance of the consent agenda, items accept items C, D, G, P, and O.
Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman Yurick, seconded by Councilman Turnbach for the balance of the consent agenda with the exception of items G, P, O, C, and D. Councilwoman Yurick.
Yes.
Councilman Turnbach.
Yes.
Councilman Kopp. Yes. Councilman Latano.
Yes.
Councilman Roderick.
No.
Council Vice President Gagan.
Yes.
Council President Maruka.
Yes. Okay. Item C, can we have a motion on that so we can do a roll call vote?
Move item C.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Councilman Turnbach, seconded by Council Vice President Gagan. Councilman Turnbach.
Absolutely yes.
Council Vice President Gagan.
Yes.
Councilwoman Yurick.
Yes.
Councilman Kopp.
Yes.
Councilman Latano.
Yes.
Councilman Roderick.
I'm going to abstain.
Council President Maruka.
Wholeheartedly, yes. Congratulations, Allison. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay, can we have a motion on item D?
Motion on
item-
item D. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I'll second.
Motion made by Councilman Turnbach, seconded by Councilwoman Yurick. Councilman Turnbach.
Absolutely yes again.
Councilwoman Yurick.
Yes.
Councilman Kopp.
Yes.
Councilman Latano.
Yes.
Councilman Roderick.
Yes.
Council President Gagan.
Yes.
Council President Maruka.
Yes.
Okay.
Next item would be item G for roll call vote.
Move item G, unless there's discussion, sorry.
Yep, I'll second item G.
Motion made by Councilwoman Yurick, seconded by Council Vice President Gagan. Councilwoman Yurick.
Yes.
Council Vice President Gagan.
Yes.
Councilman Kopp.
Yes.
Councilman Latano.
I have to abstain. I have a conflict.
Councilman Roderick.
No.
Councilman Turnbach.
Yes.
Council President Maruka.
Yes. And next would be item O.
Is that the item that we were going to have discussion? Mr. Roderick wanted to?
Did you want to discuss that item?
Oh, no, I don't need to discuss.
Okay.
I think we should discuss P.
Council President, as the item is not listed on the consent agenda, maybe we could have the township attorney explain to the public what this item is, or read the item into the record.
Okay. Well, he read the title into the record there. Township attorney is Mr. Merlino.
This is very unusual, and I think the public wants to talk about how the township is going
Excuse me.
to settle and reduce the acreage requirement for
With item O?
I really think that we should be talking about your plan to reduce the acreage requirement for houses of worship in Part P.
Councilman-
That's what people want to hear about every time this
Councilman
council
Roderick.
or this mayor
Okay, Counsel?
Motion to reconvene?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Mr. Molina, let's try O again. And we'd hope Mr. Roderick would, or Councilman Roderick would save his comments until Mr. Merlino is finished. If he could be respectful of this governing body.
Yeah, yes. I'll be respectful so we could finally get on to P.
I've been asked to read the censure resolution into the record, so I'll proceed to do that. Whereas on January 3rd, 2018, Daniel T. Roderick began a 4-year term as a member of the Township Council representing Ward 2, following his victory in the 2017 general election. Whereas throughout his tenure on the Township Council, Mr. Roderick has repeatedly committed infractions that degrade his office and violate his sworn civic duty and moral obligation to behave ethically and honorably. Whereas on June 11th, 2019, the Township Council was forced to formally censure Mr. Roderick for a lurid mayoral campaign with undeniably anti-Semitic overtones, deliberately intended to exploit religious bias for political gain. Whereas on May 12th, 2020, the Township Council was forced to censure Mr. Roderick a second time for impermissibly, unethically, and illegally breaching the confidentiality of executive session. Whereas these censures are unprecedented in the Township's history. Whereas Mr. Roderick was recently accused of inappropriately photographing from his position on the dais an attendee in the audience at the August 25th, 2020 meeting of the Township Council and transmitting those photographs to certain social media sites. Whereas the Council President directed me, Assistant Township Attorney Anthony Merlino, who did not attend the August 25th Council meeting in either his personal or professional capacity, to conduct an independent investigation into the accusations against Mr. Roderick. And whereas Mr. Merlino conducted a thorough investigation of the incident, which included interviews with the complainant and 2 members of the Township Council who directly witnessed the incident, the official video recording of the August 25th meeting, and information posted on various social media platforms on which the alleged photographs appeared. And whereas Mr. Merlino's investigation confirmed by clear and convincing evidence that 1, Mr. Roderick photographed an attendee from the dais during the August 25th proceedings of the Township Council, and 2, either directly or through a surrogate, had those photographs posted on certain social media sites where they were photoshopped to maliciously denigrate this particular citizen. Whereas Mr. Merlino reported the findings of his investigation to the Administration Committee, which recommended to the full Council that Mr. Roderick be censured a 3rd time for improper, unethical, and irresponsible conduct. Whereas all people, regardless of their identity and background, have an inviolable right to peacefully attend and speak at meetings of legislative bodies and to petition elected representatives without reproach or reprisal. Whereas Mr. Roderick's rogue behavior disrespects and discourages people from exercising that right with potentially costly legal implications for the Township. And whereas Mr. Roderick's misuse of his privileged position on the dais to mock and ridicule a citizen rightfully in attendance shows that his attention is diverted to matters other than his sworn duty to govern in the public interest. Whereas an elected official, Mr. Roderick, is morally and ethically obligated to act above such schoolyard antics and engage citizens in a civil dialogue, not use the Council's proceedings to procure fodder to feed salacious social media attacks. Whereas Mr. Roderick's behavior disrespects the public he serves and disgraces the office he holds, and whereas the Township Council vehemently and unequivocally disavows and denounces Mr. Roderick's perversion of the legislative process and reaffirms the public's fundamental right to petition their government without being personally vilified by an elected official, now therefore be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Toms River, Ocean County, New Jersey, as follows. The Township Council hereby censures and condemns Daniel T. Roderick for improperly and unethically exploiting his elective office to photograph and smear a citizen rightfully in attendance at the August 25th, 2020 meeting of the Township Council, actions which debase the Council's proceedings and dishonor the public's right to participate in the legislative process. The Township Council finds that Mr. Roderick's recidivist conduct renders him unfit to continue in elective office and hereby demands his immediate resignation from the Township Council. That's all.
Do I have an opportunity now to speak, or is it? I believe I do, correct? So, yes, I photographed Mr. Chulo. Yes, Mr. Chulo does run a social media site. Yes, I sent a photo of him to the media to identify him. He does run a social media site. That social media site posts very, very nasty, inappropriate things nude cartoon caricatures of children. The mayor likes these pictures, likes this Facebook site. I did not know Mr. Chulo, whether or not he was behind this site. Now we do know he's here. He's right there. He's behind that site. And this has
Mr.
nothing to do with P. Okay, so the mayor is liking these pictures, liking all of this
Councilman-
nasty stuff
Councilman
on social
Roderick.
media, and we have now identified the person behind the site as Mr. Chulo, who was photographing me, who I then photographed. I have never posted anything about Mr. Chulo. I sent a photo to the media. That is it, a photo. And you are censuring me to distract from the fact that you are going to break your promise. This mayor, Mayor Hill,
Stay on-
Councilman
Please.
Gagan, Councilman Latano, and
Councilman
Councilman
Roderick,
Kopp
stay on
are
item O.
breaking your promise to this
Councilman
township.
Roderick.
You promised this township that you would not change
Do we need to have a...
land use
Councilman
for houses of
Roderick.
worship, and you are breaking your promise.
You are on
lied.
item O.
You lied, and you could censure me 5 times, and the people will still know that you're a liar. You're all liars.
Okay. I make a
In your
motion
opinion.
to move item O.
I'll move it. I'll move the
I'll
censure.
second Councilman Roderick's
I'll move the censure.
censuring and resignation. I'll second that.
I'm sorry, Council President, the motion was
Motion
moved.
was made by, I believe, Councilman Roderick.
Absolutely. That would be for his censure and resignation, and Council Vice
I'm
President
not resigning. You should be
seconded
so
that.
lucky. You'll be resigning, sir, because the people of this town are
Motion
going to
was made by
recall all
Councilman-
There's a
of
motion
you.
and a
They're
second on
going
the
to recall
table.
you because you don't represent the people.
Councilman
You represent
Roderick,
special interests.
There is
You
a
are gonna
motion
get
and a
recalled.
second.
You're going to get recalled.
Motion
You
was
can
made by
censure me
Councilman
5
Roderick,
times,
seconded
you are
by
going to get
Council Vice
recalled.
President Gagan.
You're going to all get recalled.
Councilman Roderick.
No.
Council Vice President Gagan.
Absolutely, yes.
Councilwoman Yurick.
No member of the public should come to a public meeting and expect to be photographed by a member.
Excuse me.
Excuse
You have
me.
a councilman
We're-
speaking.
Councilman,
Mr.
Roderick.
and you
All right,
sit down.
we're going to go.
Go ahead. Go speak.
We will do another recess. We have a recess, please.
Have a recess.
No member of the public should come to a public meeting and anticipate being photographed by a member of the governing body and having that photograph released to anyone, never mind the press, whatever you want to call it. No one from the dais should be taking advantage of their position in that manner. It is disgraceful, reprehensible, and I vote yes.
Councilman Kopp.
Yes.
Councilman Lotano.
Yes.
Councilman Turnbach.
Each one of us took an oath of office when we were sworn in. We placed our hand on the Bible. We said, under the authority of the people, we will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of the office of council member of Toms River Township. There's nothing impartial about the conduct of Councilman Roderick that night. I think it's very important to stick to just the facts, right? That's what we stick to in the law. No member of this council knew Councilman Roderick was going to take a photo. No member of this council asked Councilman Roderick to take a photo. No member of this council asked Councilman Roderick to disseminate that photo to social media sites. We as a council became aware of an issue when a member of the public said he attended a meeting in an email to the council, and that a photo was taken, and he believed it was from Councilman Roderick, and he was right. And that photo was then sent to social media websites and photoshopped into awful, awful things. I've talked about civility. I've talked about respect for each other. There's got to be respect for the process. Never in my lifetime would I think of picking up my cell phone and taking a photo of anybody here. It just wouldn't cross my mind, because our responsibility is to perform faithfully, impartially, and justly. The idea that the council wants to spend an hour on this, we don't want this. I didn't want to censure him once, twice, or the third time. It's never happened in Toms River's history, in the history of Toms River, right? 1767. No one's been censured. This is 3 times, and none of us like doing it. But the idea that item O is somehow meant to be a distraction from item P is factually false. And I'd ask the members of the press that are here and the public, don't pay attention to the smoke screens. Pay attention to the facts. None of us asked him to take that photo. He's admitted to taking the photo. He's admitted to sending it to social media. We are concerned as a township that every member of the public should come in and not feel that they're going to be shamed to come to a township public meeting. We also want to protect our residents from civil liability, that pictures are going to be taken distorted, and then the township and the residents are going to be sued, and we're all going to have to pay for it. That's what this is about. The idea that P, in a letter that comes weeks after Councilman Roderick took this photo, is somehow the basis for O, it's just a lie. It's just false. I don't want to waste any more time on this. I vote yes.
Council President Maruka.
Yes. Next is item P. Mr. Merlino, would you please read the letter into the record?
Yes, Council President. This letter was received on September 17th, 2020. It is from the Civil Rights Division of the United States Attorney's Office for the District of New Jersey and the United States Department of Justice. It says, as you know, the Department of Justice and the United States Attorney's Office for the District of New Jersey have been investigating the zoning and land use practices of Toms River, New Jersey under the Religious Land Use and Institutionalized Persons Protection Act of 2000, otherwise known as RLUPA. The investigation has focused on how the township's zoning laws affect religious land uses, including whether they unreasonably limit or substantially burden religious uses, assemblies, or institutions, or treat religious uses on less equal terms than non-religious assemblies or institutions. RLUPA prohibits application of a land use regulation that imposes a substantial burden on religious exercise, absent a compelling governmental interest, treats a religious assembly or institution on less than equal terms with a non-religious assembly or institution, discriminates against a religious assembly or institution on the basis of religion or religious denomination, and or totally excludes or unreasonably limits religious assemblies, institutions, or structures within a jurisdiction. This letter is to inform you that we have completed our investigation and that the Assistant Attorney General for the Civil Rights Division has authorized the filing of a complaint in federal district court against the township. The complaint will allege that township's zoning laws unreasonably limit religious exercise, treat religious assemblies or institutions on less than equal terms with non-religious assemblies or institutions, and substantially burden religious exercise which burden does not further a compelling governmental interest and is not the least restrictive means of furthering a compelling interest. DOJ will consider deferring the filing of the lawsuit for a short period if the township is willing to enter into pre-suit negotiations in an effort to resolve this matter. Although the specific provisions are open to discussion, a resolution must, at a minimum, provide relief to address the United States allegations, revise the township zoning ordinance to prevent future violations of RLUIPA, provide for injunctive relief to ensure that zoning and land use laws are implemented in a manner consistent with federal law, include mandatory RLUIPA training, record keeping, and periodic reporting to DOJ. We are willing to discuss the precise nature of revisions to the township zoning ordinances, but they must, at a minimum, involve significant changes that address the religious needs of Orthodox Jews and other religious groups who worship in small settings, travel on foot to attend houses of worship because of sincerely held religious beliefs, and have minimal need for parcels with large acreage. In the meantime, we have for example, revising the township zoning ordinance such that houses of worship require parcels with 7 or more acres is insufficient to remedy the township's violations of RLUIPA. In the meantime, as we have requested in our previous correspondence, please ensure that township officials and employees are reminded to continue to preserve in their current form any and all records, documents, photos, videos, files, or tapes, including emails and computer files that may be relevant to this matter. We hope that the township shares our interest in achieving a voluntary resolution of this matter. We ask that you inform us by no later than September 29th, 2020, whether the township is interested in entering into pre-suit settlement negotiations. If we do not hear from you by September 29th, 2020, the United States may file its complaint without further notice. And then it gives the contact information and the signatories to the letter, which include Eric S. Dryband, Assistant Attorney General for the Civil Rights Division, Craig Carpenito, the United States Attorney for the District of New Jersey, and Michael E. Campion, Assistant U.S. Attorney, Chief of the Civil Rights Unit.
Okay. Mr. Molina, let me just ask you one question. And we had spoken with our counsel, Marcy Hamilton, on this, and her recommendation would be to enter into conversation with the DOJ.
That's correct.
Okay. And that is what this governing body is voting on this evening?
Yes,
to allow our legal team and our negotiation team to move forward with talks?
Yes, you're accepting the DOJ's offer to the pre-suit negotiation.
Okay, great. And that is what we are, just want to be clear with that. And I just also would like to say, if any members of the press have any questions, we are going to direct you to Marcy Hamilton, because this is a legal matter, and the mayor and council will not be answering any questions. They'll be going to Marcy Hamilton on that. Okay, we have item P. We have read into the title into the record. Okay. Do we have a motion on item P?
Move item P.
Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman Yurick, seconded by Councilman Turnbach. Councilwoman Yurick.
I think it's important that we've been given an opportunity by the United States government to enter into negotiations so that we can have our voices heard, as opposed to being instructed by the federal government or the judicial bodies of the federal government as to how we will zone Toms River. So this opportunity for negotiation still gives us the opportunity to determine how Toms River is zoned, and I vote yes.
Councilman Turnbach.
I'll echo Councilwoman Urick's comments. The idea of pre-settlement negotiations, the township loses nothing. If we can enter into negotiation and our land use and the council agree with that negotiation, we can move forward. If we can't, there may very well be a suit, but the township loses nothing by attempting to sit down with the Department of Justice, listen to their concerns, and take it back to the council. So for those reasons, I'm voting yes.
Councilman Kopp.
Yes.
Councilman Lotano.
One big thing here that's important is September 29th There's not a lot of time on this. There's no way to delay it. There's no way to push it off. We are agreeing to negotiate, and the alternative is to possibly take it right to court. It's got to be done, yes.
Councilman Roderick.
We are not currently being sued, so I would like that on the record as well, and I vote no.
Council Vice President Gagan.
This is certainly a difficult decision for the entire Township Council. We're responsible for you, your tax dollars. Everybody knows reading factual news outlets, newspapers, Star Ledger, what's going on across the country, particularly here in New Jersey. Again, this started in 2018. Some of us weren't here. However, there's, as Councilman Turnback said, this is to open the door to sit down and negotiate. It could wind up in a lawsuit at the end of the negotiations, but if we ignore it and continue to kick the can down the road, a lawsuit certainly is coming. And inappropriate comments by any members of the council is only going to add some commas and zeros to those numbers. So I would like the council or legal team, Marcy Hamilton, to sit down and, yes, negotiate with them. The best we can do. Yes.
Council President Maruka.
What we're authorizing tonight is for our legal team to sit down with the DOJ. This is to have a discussion. This is to really discuss what they'd like to see and what Tom Ziver would like to see. It gives us a seat at the table. It gives us the ability to still govern and also regulate our township. Once we go to litigation, our land use laws will be litigated from the bench. The dollar amounts that will be associated with them will hit every taxpayer in this municipality. We were elected by the taxpayers and the voters of this township to represent them, and sometimes you have to make tough decisions. But as Councilman Turnbuck had said, and Councilwoman Yurick had, it costs us nothing to sit down and discuss and negotiate. And for that reason, I would vote yes.
Next on the agenda, we have the bills.
Move the bill list, please.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Turnbuck, second by Councilwoman Yurick. Councilman Turnbuck.
Thank you. Abstain from PO 20-4790, payable to the magistrates. PO 20-893 and 20-4792, payable to Office of Dasty McGuckin. PO 20-485 and 20-4522, payable to law office of Siddle, Holzapfel, and Zabarski. I'm a local attorney in town. I have conflicts with those three. Yes to the balance.
Councilwoman Yurick.
Abstain from PO 20-00162, payable to the Borough of Lavalette. PO 19-00248, 20-00569, and 20-4573, payable to Remington and Vernick Engineers. And PO 20-04790, items 17 and 18, only as it pertains to recreation salaries. Yes to the balance.
Councilman Kopp.
I abstain from the following: 20-04557, 20-04558, 20-04559, and 20-04562, payable to Owen and Little Associates, and also 20-01385, payable to the Board of Fire Commissioners, District 2. Yes to the balance.
Councilman Latano.
I have to abstain from PO number 20-0441, payable to Mr. Keys Incorporated, and 19-03911, payable to O'Donnell Stanton and Associates, Inc. Yes to the balance.
Councilman Roderick.
I vote no.
To all bills?
All bills, yes.
Council Vice President Gagan.
I have one abstention as I'm a volunteer firefighter in Fire District 2 for the past 33 years, and that's purchase order 20-01385. Yes to the balance.
Council President Maruka.
Abstain to 20-00893 and 20-04792, payable to Daphne McGuckin, Attorney at Law, and abstain to PO 20-04790, Toms River Payroll Item 85, payable to NJMVC Lease Program. I have a conflict. Yes to the balance.
Next, we have elected officials' comments.
Mayor Hill.
Thank you, Council President. I've requested that the governor reconsider his mandate to vote by mail and allow us to vote in person on voting machines. As you know, the most recent vote by mail that was held in July, almost 10% of the ballots were disqualified. And with the presidential election cycle, there's going to be an increased number of votes. And I think the people are expressing concerns over whether their vote by mail ballots will be counted. And also, we have a new fitness center opening at Veterans Park. That'll be officially open next Tuesday, the 29th at 1 p.m. We'll have a ribbon cutting on that facility. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Hill. Councilman Latano?
Thank you, Council President. Well, it's been a long time coming, but at least we have limited indoor dining. As the weather gets colder, being able to eat indoors is essential to the restaurant's survival. As council, the good news is we're getting more and more requests for grand openings and grand reopenings. Recently, we have attended the Sweetwater Coffee and Tea Shop at the Ocean County Mall and the Music Academy, which was a reopening on Water Street downtown. There's many, many more. It's a very good sign that these businesses feel like they can open back up. It's very important that our residents support the local businesses. Along with that, News 12 did a segment last week on our downtown night out, which takes place on Washington Street. It has been a huge success, and News 12 really boosted the acknowledgement for that. I hope the public can look through all of the yelling and deception and see what is going on here. There is not 6 people up here being dishonest. There are 6 members that are heavily involved with the community, 6 members that do our best. We show up prepared, and we try really hard to make a difference and do the right thing. One other person is being dishonest. Also, you'll have your chance. Also, I want to offer a personal apology to High School South PLA students. There's a few of you here today. Our council meetings should not go this way, and it is inappropriate that high school students come here, they get their first sample of local government, and this is what they see. It's not the way it's supposed to be, and I apologize to you guys. That's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Latano. Councilman Cobb?
I have no further comments tonight, Council President.
Okay.
Thanks.
Councilman Roderick?
After the Republican primary, Mayor Hill's Land Use Committee put on the agenda a measure that was going to reduce the acreage requirement for houses of worship from 10 township-wide to 7, and 2 acres in North Dover. He told everyone in the township that that was some kind of mistake. He didn't know how it happened. And he promised everyone in this community during his election that he would uphold the 10-acre rule. And now, tonight, Resolution P is basically an admission that Mayor Hill's intentions are to reduce the acreage requirement, and we are going into negotiations for that. So the mayor has lied, the council has lied, and the public has a right to know that. And frankly, I believe the public should recall this council and this mayor for lying to the public. And that's all I have this evening.
Thank you for your comments, disingenuous at best, but Councilwoman York.
Thank you, Councilwoman Marika. So, just to clarify, when the Land Use Committee meeting is held, what happens is that concepts and proposals are brought to the Land Use Committee meeting as an initial discussion. So there was no conspiracy, there was no machination about secretly changing things, as Councilman Roderick continues to allege. There was a proposal that was being brought to the Land Use Committee to be discussed. That was it, an idea. And now we have an impending federal suit, not a plan, not a masterminded conspiracy. It's not Mayor Hill's plan, most certainly not. Nobody wants to be sued by the federal government. But the letter we received indicates that if we do not enter into negotiations, that the Attorney General has been authorized to sue the Township of Toms River. That can only result in one thing. That would result in increased money paid out by the Township of Toms River, and that would result in the federal government dictating how we zone our town. So we as a council are doing the only thing we possibly can, and that is to agree to negotiate with the federal government. They've given us an opportunity. They don't always do that. They most often just sue. So we have been given a warning. They've fired a shot over the bow. And we are taking the opportunity. This is not the plan of the mayor. In fact, the council is making this decision, and the council is making this vote tonight to authorize the mayor to negotiate.
It's actually, Councilwoman York, I believe it's for our legal negotiating
For our
team.
legal team.
Our legal team is. The
So
mayor
not
is not
even-
negotiating, our
Right.
legal team is.
Didn't
The
you say
mayor's not
something different, though, Lori, during the primary, or after the primary, during the general election? You said something
Excuse
different.
me, she's in
as
the
to
middle of her
plan.
council comments.
You
Could
did.
you
I'm going to
refrain,
have to go back
please?
to the newspapers to look.
You
but I
could-
know
Can you
there
have-
was-
can you
There was
please
a
Councilman
debate
Robert, can
between
you
who
please-
it was, whether it was you or
Can
whether it was
you
Mayor Hill.
please
Why
refrain?
is it that
I'd be
you
happy
were
to
allowed
answer-
to
Mr.
interject
Roderick,
now and
I'd
then?
be happy to answer your question if you
Well,
would
yeah, if
stop
I could finish getting the
talking.
question out, but we're
Stop
not. I'm
talking.
asking you a
Excuse
question.
me.
But every time I ask a question, someone interrupts me, and it seems to be okay. But then when I ask a question, I don't understand this. So
Councilman-
you were just banging. You asked her a question, that was fine. I waited till you were done.
Because,
and then I
everything
asked, and
goes
you
through-
began to bang.
Excuse me.
This is constant here.
It is
President.
because you are constantly
Constant.
interrupting.
Something completely different during the general election, you said, Laura.
Excuse me.
Something totally different.
Councilman Roderick, and if I ask Councilman York, it's through the chair. As a president of this council, I can do that. And I just did. And if you're out of order, I will gavel you down, like I continually do.
Yes, very true. Very true. Thank you.
Only, but like an unruly child, you do not stop. I'm sorry, Councilwoman York, could you please continue?
Sure, and I'd be very happy to answer Mr. Roderick's question. You can pull up the newspaper article from the general election. That is perfectly fine, because I have not changed my knowledge of the Land Use Committee procedure, nor have I changed my opinion about us governing our own zoning as opposed to the federal government dictating what our zoning will be. That has not changed. Pull up the article, read it at the next meeting if you like. That is perfectly fine. So I'd also like to let everyone know that's concerned about the mail-in ballots that if you are concerned and the governor does not change his mind, then you may bring your ballot when you receive it. You can fill it out. You may bring it to the drop box that is located outside of the garage, the county garage on Madison, I believe the street is. And you can drop it in that box. If you are very concerned about it, you may hand deliver it to the county clerk who is in that administrative building on the second floor. They will let you in. It may say on the, on the door that they're practicing social distancing and that they don't allow anyone in. But if you ask the security officers that you have a delivery for the county clerk, they will let you deliver it. You may also bring your ballot to the polling place if you would like to hand deliver it. If you're concerned about the mail not bringing your ballot fast enough to the county clerk, you may deliver your ballot to the polling place and they will accept it there and deliver it to the county clerk, just like along with the voting machines. The voting machines will be available for those with disabilities, and you may also fill out a provisional ballot at your polling place if you do not already have your mail-in ballot. So just to allay some of the concerns. With all the negativity that has occurred tonight, I just wanted to point out some more positive things that we've been doing over the last couple of weeks. So of course this isn't positive, on 9/11 we had a ceremony commemorating the tragedy that happened on 9/11, the attack against the United States, where we lost several thousand Americans on that day, and then also to commemorate those who we've lost subsequently through illness as a result of their heroic efforts at Ground Zero. And on September 12th, Exit 82 had a drive-in concert. So the arts are starting to pick up again now that the state is starting to open up a bit. And so it was a socially distanced drive-in concert, and that was at the Blue Claw Stadium. And then on September 19th, the fire department had a fundraiser. So of course, we can't have the Halloween parade this year, but they're still doing the Fill the Boot fundraiser at Chateaupeany. And then on September 20th, Zach G. Applaud Our Kids held an outdoor socially distanced cabaret in the courtyard right out front of our, well, kind of in the middle of our building, between our building and the library. And also there was a ribbon cutting at Sweetwater's at the mall. So the mall businesses that Simon Malls reinvested in Toms River and redesigned a huge portion of the mall. And those businesses were stalled because of the COVID-19 pandemic and the isolation. But those businesses are starting to open now. And so please do visit them. And then, as the mayor said, Veterans Park Fitness Court is finally opened. So promoting and supporting public health efforts is a very important role for municipal government. And there are many exercise equipment playgrounds for children around town, but equipment for adults was extremely limited. And what we did have was outdated. So the new equipment is state-of-the-art. You can download an app, you can do a 7-minute workout and go through the various stations. We placed it in Veterans Park so that parents could take advantage of this equipment while their children are practicing for their sports. There's different fields there at Veterans Park. And it's also in close proximity to a trail that we have so that you could combine using the equipment with a walk or run on the trail. So with COVID-19 precautions, an outdoor workout space is a particular need right now, since the indoor gyms have been limited and only recently opened in a limited capacity. But of course, wash your hands or use hand sanitizer after you use the equipment, and continue to social distance and be careful. And so get out there and check out the new fitness equipment at Veterans Park. And that is it.
Thank you, Councilman York. Council Vice President Gigan.
As I sit here tonight, it's already after 8 o'clock. I've gone through my mind, like, do I want to say anything? What do I want to say? Incompetent, theft, corruption, these are all easy words to throw out there. We've all been accused of it. And I've said, if you have something solid, by all means, I'll save you the parking fees and your gas. I'll drive you to the prosecutor's office or the attorney general's office myself. We're all still waiting. Certainly, we don't all agree on things. We all participate in meetings throughout the week, get the best ideas out there. We have an excellent staff throughout this building that have been labeled, incompetent, whatnot. It's disheartening to hear. They work for us, they work for you, the residents, and they do a damn good job. I'd like to ask our maybe legal staff to look into one criminal statute that may apply at different times. 2C 33-8, disrupting meetings. It's a disorderly person's offense. It may apply, it may not. That's all I have, Council President.
Thank you, Council Vice President Gagnon. Councilman Turnbuck.
Thank you, Council President. I think it's important for the students that are here tonight, and I appreciate Councilman Latano pointing that out, to know that municipal government can work. And we have two Democrats up here that work very well with the majority of the Republicans. Mayor Hill's an elected Republican, I'm an elected Democrat. And I'm very proud that Mayor Hill is our mayor of this town. He's a friend. I've worked with him now 2.5 years, see how deeply he cares for this township. I stand with him every Friday handing out boxes of food to people that need it. He's a family man. He honorably served his country. He's not a liar. Government can work, and the students that are here, you need to know it's about the person, not the party. You see, in the national level, you have many people that say, oh, if you're a Republican and I'm a Democrat, we can't be friends or we can't work together. That's not the purpose of government. The purpose of government is to come together, to have different ideas, to listen, to try and understand another's position and move forward with a compromise. Mayor Hill is not a liar. To the students, I'm glad you're here tonight because I'm happy to indicate that the Toms River Education Foundation is now incorporated. This is a foundation that's going to be set up to raise money for the students of Toms River, to make sure that none of the extracurricular activities are impacted by the state cuts to our education. We have already filed an application for 501c3 status that is pending, and we are going to start with an initial event of a 5K run walk. There's going to be a quick turnaround. We're actually going to try to have this run walk at the end of November. So 100% of the proceeds that are raised by the Toms River Education Foundation will go to the students of Toms River so that we can continue to have the extracurricular activities that the students enjoy. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Turnbuck. I'm just going to touch a little bit on what Councilman Turnbuck had said when you have governing bodies of different political parties. And I'm going to use the name tonight of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She served as a Supreme Court justice. She recently passed away. But she served as a role model for women's rights, for championing the underdog. And you know what else she served as? Someone who could reach across the aisle and work with anyone, whether they had the same political beliefs or not. I read a quote where one of her closest friends was the deceased judge, Supreme Court Judge Anthony Scalia. Two polar opposites from the political spectrum. But they sat and they governed on the highest court in this land. They respected that court. They respected their charge as a Supreme Court justice. They respected the law and they respected each other. She called him one of her closest friends. And I see with the majority of this mayor and council, We have that cohesiveness of working together. We have that mutual respect for each other. We will give each other the time to get their point out and not have to disrupt or disagree. We might, but if we do, it's respectfully. And if anyone, especially the PLE kids that are in the audience here tonight, please take that home with you, that we do, for the majority of this council, respect and appreciate difference of opinion. We respect and appreciate dialogue. And you know what usually respect and dialogue bring? They also bring compromise. So you can see something from both sides and meet somewhere in the middle. And I'm proud to say that the majority of this governing body and this mayor and administration and all of our department heads and all of our employees engage in that on a daily basis. That's your government of Toms River at work for you. There are some things, Councilwoman Hurek talked a little bit about the mail-in ballots. If you need information, the best source would be the Ocean County Board of Elections website. They have a lot of information there, and out of the county clerk's office, Scott Colabella. The census is winding down. They are making a final run, I believe, to collect the last data in the next week or so. And then also we have some events coming along soon. I know in downtown they have a ribbon cutting for the Drips and Kicks. That's on Friday, September 25th. They still have their incubator on 53 Washington. The farmers market will continue. And the last one will be held in the end of October on the 28th. The downtown Friday nights and Saturday nights are going strong. They added the Sunday Fun Day. There'll be a scarecrow walk coming and also the Harvest Arts Festival. But there's one event I really want to highlight. And this is an event I think that's probably close to near and dear to everyone's heart here. And that's going to take place this coming Monday, September 28th at the Pizza Hut. It's the Vesta Cop program. It's raising money. Our police, our local PBA 137, raises money so they can replace their vests. I believe it's every 5 years. We have a police force of 160 men and women that serve this community day in and day out. I encourage everyone to stop by, have one of our officers serve you some pizza, or drop off a check, or participate in their raffles, or bring your family there, bring your kids there, so they can interact with the police department, which I consider the finest police department in the state of New Jersey. You won't be disappointed. But they can use the funds. It's a worthwhile organization, and encourage everyone to support that this Monday night. On that note, I am going to open it up for public comment. If anyone from the public wants to comment, please raise your hand. Called upon, come to the mic and state your name and address for the record. Sir, would you like to step forward, please?
Can I pull my mask down as I talk here, or should I leave it on?
No, that's fine, sir. Whichever you're more comfortable.
I can pull it down? Okay, thank you. Sam Foster, 108 Chico Drive. I currently live in Brick. As you know, I'm thinking about moving to Township, that's why I come here. Council President Maruka, I want to thank you for, you stole one of my comments. Was going to be to remind people about the event at Pizza Hut, the Invest a Cop event. I thought it was the 30th, but it is going to be this next Monday,
It's
correct?
this Monday coming up, the 28th.
Okay, yeah, I saw it on Facebook, that's why I made a note about it. So thank you for that.
Yeah, it's the 30th anniversary of the event.
Oh, that's what it is. I got a little mixed up there, but I did see it on Facebook. It's on my calendar. But anyway, thank you for that. I did want to make a comment. As you know, last time I spoke here, I spoke about the things going on during the council meeting. And as I said, I'm currently a resident of Brick Township. And I mentioned last time I spoke about the problems that we had with Councilman Fosman and Brick being disruptive during meetings. And how it instigated trouble because people started, it went on for several years because we had weak council presidents and it really did become an issue to the point where people were arguing. Councilman Fosman would interrupt other people when they were trying to speak, interrupted citizens, he argued. It just became very disruptive, so I applaud your efforts to try and get these meetings under control. And I agree with you, even though maybe people might think I might not should have an opinion about this because I'm not a resident of Township. I am planning on moving here, and I do, do business here a lot, play chess here, and so I am concerned about the things that do go on in town. And I want to compliment this board, all of you, for the way you've worked together, Democrats and Republicans, all of you, and your support of Mayor Hill, because I do feel that he is being maybe mistreated is maybe the wrong word, but I'll say mistreated, because he's been a good councilman for us for many years. I think it was Councilwoman Herrick that mentioned, or maybe it was Councilman Turnback, yeah, it was you, that mentioned about his service to this country as being in the military, the Navy. He rose to the position of Rear Admiral. So he's a man of good character. Now, I've met him many times at the Ocean County Fair and about events here in Toms River. So I thank you for that. And I did want to make a comment here. I argue a lot with the Township Council because they don't like being criticized, but you don't really have that problem here. And one of the things I'd like to point out here is that I say this all the time because they think that they have the same rights as a private citizen. And I tell them, you don't. You're public officials. We can criticize you, and we have the right to do that. And it was mentioned about photography of the public. The public has the right to photograph you because you are elected officials, but you don't have the same legal rights to photograph the public, especially during a council meeting. So I wanted to point that out, that that's something that should be noted as far as the comments that were made back and forth. And I don't want to be too controversial. I don't want to stir up a hornet's nest, even though it's already probably been poked a couple of times already tonight. But I feel that Councilman Roderick, well, I want to ask you straight up, because you're calling on him to resign. And if he does not resign, are you able, is the Toms River GOP able to remove him from his seat and appoint someone who's more appropriate to the, conductive behavior, proper behavior?
I'm not going to speak for the Toms River GOP on that issue.
Okay, I didn't mean to be controversial, but I just do think that I don't understand why Councilman Roderick is acting this way, because personally, I think it's just he has personal animosity towards Mary Hill, because Councilman Roderick did run for the position of mayor in GOP primary last election, and he supported Joe Coronado, who did not get the nomination. And I just think that excuse me, this is what Councilman Fosman did during break meetings as well. And it's you said you didn't support Joe Coronado. You did. You endorsed him. So I don't know. If you want to debate me, fine. What? Go ahead.
Okay.
No, that's fine. No.
Okay, 'cause we all know he endorsed Joe Coronado. He ran for mayor. He finished last in the primary, so he endorsed Joe Coronado. But I'm just saying that I don't want, as I said last council meeting that I attended here, I don't want things to get out of control like they did in Brick Township. And what I see happening here is the same thing that Councilman Fosman did. Disruptive, interfered with the meetings going on, and it just incited people into misbehaving, and it became a zoo. And citizen after citizen stood up and says, look, you got to stop this. So I want to thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else from the public wishing to comment? Mr. Anderson.
Art Anderson, 12 Park Street. I know this is real fast. I don't want to take much time. But on the litigation we were talking about tonight, you said the legal staff is the one that's going to be meeting with the...
Our legal team, which is headed by Marcy Hamilton.
Now, that's over the land use. Will they be making the decision? Will it be coming back to the council, the mayor? Who makes the final decision?
No, they would negotiate, and they would come back to the council, the council's land use committee, and it would be the township council that would have the final decision.
Would you make that decision at a council meeting?
We'd have to make some type of decision at a council meeting. We'd probably have to memorialize a decision, whatever it is.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else from the general public wishing to speak? Mr. Cholo?
A little bit shorter than everybody, I guess. Richard Chulo, I live over in Seaside Heights. You'll forgive me if I'm a little reluctant to give you my actual address because I'd prefer Dan didn't show up in front of my house and start taking pictures of my family like he did here at a council meeting. First and foremost importance, I wasn't aware that there were high school students here tonight.
Just the council, please, through the chair.
Okay, and I want to apologize to them for my conduct. It was wholly inappropriate. I've attended meetings for 30 years. I've attended many of your meetings. You've never seen an outburst like that from me before, and you won't see one like that again from me. I do want to take a moment to say thank you for the censure that you've passed tonight. I don't know that the matter is concluded yet, but I feel comfortable that you've now done your part, and it relies now on me if I choose to go any further with it. Finally, on the Arlupa issue, it's kind of become a favorite subject of mine over the course of the last 2 years, and I can tell you that statistically, if you wind up in federal court with the Department of Justice, you're going to wind up on the losing end of things, and it is absolutely in your best interests, particularly with Marcy Hamilton representing the township, to sit down, have these discussions. I don't even know that they qualify as negotiations at this point. You're going to hear their position. You're going to hear their thoughts with regard to where they think we've got problem areas in our zoning, and you'll have an opportunity to make those corrections or not. If you wind up going forward with it, wonderful. It saves the taxpayers millions of dollars in litigation. I think it's important that everybody in Toms River understand the potential exposure, which is not just, we've talked about the zoning, and boy, you sure do like beating up on Mayor Hill on that North Dover thing. The truth of the matter is your current zoning is 10 acres as a minimum of a house of worship. The DOJ is likely to suggest something less than that, but not necessarily something that's going to be objectionable to the folks in Toms River, unless or until they actually hear what that is. And it might very well be something as simple as, look, if you reduce to 8 acres, we're going to pull the threat of litigation. That's a simple decision to make. But ultimately, if you study Airmont, New York, New Square, New York, Muncie, New York, Palm Tree, New York, in each one of those cases, Clarkstown, New York, you're going to find the municipality wound up on the losing end and was on the hook for upwards of $8 or $10 million. I don't think we want that. So I just wanted to let you know that I personally support the decision that you've made, and I look forward to hearing the outcome of that.
Thank you for your comments.
Yeah.
Anyone else from the general public wishing to comment this evening?
Seeing none, move to close the public comment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to go into executive session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Alice?
Allison, you going to read that resolution?
Whereas Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances to discuss matters requiring confidentiality and/or of a privileged nature, and whereas the Township Council is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Toms River in the County of Ocean and State of New Jersey as follows. The Township Council will now conduct a private executive session. The general nature of the subject matter to be discussed and/or acted upon is as follows. Matters of personnel, attorney-client privilege, and contract negotiations. The following specific items to be discussed and/or acted upon are as follows. The executive session minutes review of September 8, 2020, the personnel issues of the Township Clerk's Office and Administration, the review of status of all real property acquisitions, the request of parking authority to borrow money as a result of reduced income due to COVID-19. It is anticipated that the deliberations conducted in closed session may be disclosed to the public upon the determination of the Township Council that the public interest will no longer be served by such confidentiality. Motion to go into executive session made by Councilman Yurick, second by Councilman Turnbach, with all in favor at 8:23 p.m. is 9:05. Do I have a motion to go back into public session? Oh, okay.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
For the record, Councilman Roderick is not present. Do I have a motion to adopt the executive session minutes of September 8th, 2020?
Second?
Motion made by Councilman Urick, seconded by Councilman Latano. Councilman Urick? Yes. Councilman Latano?
Yes.
Councilman Kopp? Yes. Councilman...
Abstain. I just warned you.
Councilman Roderick is absent. Councilman Turnbach? Yes. Council Vice President Gagan? Yes. Council President Maruka? Yes. And do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion. Second. Whoever got it, whatever.
All in favor?
Aye. Congratulations.
Thank you, everybody. Good night. 9:06 p.m.